Hi people! Seasons of Mastery launch is less than 12 hours away as of this recording. I'm sure you've prepped a bunch, maybe watched some guides, planned some routes and whatnot, or maybe you haven't planned anything at all. Regardless, here is a big tip that will help any melee damage dealer quite a bit, and hunters as well, and possibly casters. So in every starting zone there are weapon vendors. Exactly what they sell varies, but as long as you're in your own starting zone, you can be sure that the vendor sells weapons you can use. And these weapons are actually rather big upgrades in many cases. These upgrades are typically the best thing you can invest your silver in at these lower levels. Unless you get lucky with the green weapon drops, then these weapons are going to be the strongest ones you can get your hand on for the first like 10 levels. Overall, you should go through 5 different tiers of weapons from level 1 to level 10 or so. First one is obviously the weapon you start with. The second one is the weapon you can buy as soon as possible from the vendor in your starting zone. The price of this weapon varies from 57 copper to 1 silver and 12 copper, depending on what weapon you should get. Simply look at what weapon your character starts with, that is the weapon type you will want to buy from the vendor. If you start with a two-handed mace, you will want to get a two-handed mace from the vendor. Usually you can use 2 different types of weapons, like a one-handed sword and a one-handed axe for a human. But typically, if you start with a one-handed weapon, you cannot use a two-hander at this level. Now, this was the second level, the second tier. The third weapon is the one given by the last quest in your starting zone, or one of the last, meaning you'll likely get this weapon at about level 5 or thereabouts. Next up, as soon as you've made your way out of the starting zone and to the next questing hub, such as Goldshire or St. John Village, you can find a vendor with the next weapon. This one is usually substantially more expensive. For example, the Gladius Sword, which most rogues and human warriors should get, is 5 silver and 36 copper. It's well worth the cost however, so get it as soon as you can. Finally, around level 10, you should get your final vendor weapon from the vendor in your capital. This one is often around 20 silver or more. For some classes you might have to learn to use another type of weapon, such as a two-handed sword. Note that all of these skills are 10 silver, with like one exception. Now, some examples of the different tiers of weapons. Orc warriors should buy the broadaxe for 1 silver and 12 copper as soon as they can. That will bring them from 1.4 DPS to 2.1, which is a 50% increase. That's pretty massive. So by the time you turn in your first few quests, aim to have a total of 112 copper in grace and raw copper. This is if you're an orc warrior. The next weapon you should buy is the large axe. This one costs 5 silver and 45 copper. Note that your reputation with the vendor's faction can lower the price a bit. This axe increases your DPS from 2.1 to 4.3, that's a 105% DPS increase. When making your way to St. John Village, try and grind the mobs along the way to earn the silver you might be missing. Finally, at level 9, buy the axe Tabar, that's 23 silver and 44 copper, going from 4.3 DPS to 8.3 DPS, a 93% upgrade. Another example, most hunters should buy the Hornwood recurve bow as soon as they leave the starting zone. That's 3 silver, increasing DPS from 1.5 to 2.4. The next bow you should buy is the laminated short bow at level 11. This one costs 19 silver and 70 copper, and it increases your DPS from 2.4 to 5.8. Now there are a lot of race and class combinations, and all of them will use different weapons. And I won't list all the weapons each unique combination should buy. I will, however, link the weapon database on Wowhead and quickly explain how to use it. So you choose your specific weapon type and click apply filter. Typically you want to choose the weapon type that your character starts with, so orcs, that's two-handed axe, if you're a warrior, human, that's one-handed sword, and so on and so forth. Next, you click on the requirement button to list the weapons from lowest level requirements to the highest ones. Note that the first weapons won't have any level requirement, and thus there won't be any number. Find the next weapon that looks good, see how much it costs, and see where you can buy it. And then go back to go back. And here you can look around for what kind of weapons that would be interesting to your character. Personally, I find it kind of fun making sure I collect enough silver to get the next vendor weapon. Not only is it typically a massive upgrade, but it also gives me a little something to do well, even when I'm level 1. Every single copper becomes valuable, as I know I'll be able to get the weapon upgrade. So anyway, these are relatively massive upgrades you can invest your silver in during the first 10 levels or so of the game. It really makes an impact. Once you've gotten the last tier of vendor weapons, I'd recommend you start using your silver to buy any missing 6-slot bags, and after that I guess save it. Also, if you start a bit after launch, it might be worth looking on the auction house for a good weapon at level 10 instead of going to the weapon vendor, the vendor weapons. But if they are way too expensive, or if we're 2 hours into the release, then there likely won't be anything on the auction house for you. I hope you're all looking forward to the release. Let's hope it's gonna be a smooth one without the 3-hour delays. Anyway, this was all from me for now. Make sure to like and subscribe for more stuff to watch and listen to while grinding out the levels. I'll be back soon, and until then, see ya in Azeroth.